Good evening, race fans, and welcome to HBR26. I'm joined tonight by Jake Sanderson and Gordon Sloan, and on the course we will have Lisa Jones, Dan Bennett, Ernst Leckies, and our man on the course will be Rob Homer. Tonight we will have a single lap of Lady Liberty. We will start at the Pens and turn south towards the start of the KOM climb at 2.0 kilometers. We will hit the start of the official climb at 2.9, hit the banner at 4.1, then descend to the flats at 6.0, go around the lake and finish at 12.5. So, Jakey, you must love this sort of course.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see this. You know what I'm about to tell you. I think this is going to end in my favourite sort of finish, a sprint finish. So the climb very early on, very short, really, only 1.1k, 200 meters elevation, we think in total. So is that going to be enough to split the group out? Maybe not the front guys, maybe not people like Chris Shelton, P. Schaefer, the man I'm following tonight, Daniel Bennett. So be very interesting. Once again, like every week, I'm putting my money on a sprint finishes that we take off out of the pen now. So I'll pass you over to Gordon. Gordon, who are you following?
Yep, so tonight we're following Ernst Leckies, which is great rider. He's improved a lot recently. Great TT rider, and he's come out the pen here, 3-4 watts a kilo. So he's just trying to get on with the front group, see how he's getting on. He's not quite probably at the level of sort of Chris Shelton, Daniel Bennett at the front, but he's looks like he's settling and he's in 12th place. The flat start of the route will suit him, and see how he can hang on over the top. I can see it looks like Rory right in front of him. See how we go on. I think the hill will, whoever we can stay with up that hill will be the main focus, and then he will certainly pull people back on the downhill for the remainder of the course.
I'm following Lisa Jones tonight. She's started off well in 12th place at the moment. Lisa is a self-professed climber, and she loves the Alp. So I think the reverse KOM we'll be taking on tonight will be definitely well up there in one of the favourites. But let's quickly switch to our man on the course before the hills get crazy. Rob, how are you feeling tonight?
I'm struggling already. I think I was coming down with Jake's cold. Yeah, hard start. Went out fast, like most of them have, to be honest. But yeah, I'll hopefully warm into it and settle down in a minute.
And I can see Robert there just in front of Ernst. He's maybe actually gapping a wee bit slightly. It's quite a decent sized group, 10, 15, maybe even 20 riders, which I think they're just settling into their own sort of groups. Once the hill comes, though, I suspect it will split up quite a lot more.
Absolute carnage is expected. Lisa's dropped back down to sort of 25th, 26th. She's got a nice little group at the moment. It's at 1.2k, so about 700-800 meters away from the start of the climb. Jake, what's going on where you are?
So we saw the front group take off like bats out of hell as usual. Weirdly, we're actually seeing that group be pulled back. So Dan Bennett missed the front break. He was in the secondary group, so he's in 13th position. The main group including our favourites, Chris Shelton, Max Szymanski, Kevin Flood, Patrick Schaefer, all in that front group. So doing big watts, but they're getting reeled back in. So we've seen their gap go from 10 seconds to just 3 seconds as Dan Bennett's on the front doing 4 watts per kilo and has been basically consistently since we came out of the gate. So they're literally about to join up here unless the gap's maybe 2 seconds. So we're starting to hit the start of the incline just as they're joining together. Bad timing, really. But Dan Bennett's been doing great. He's maybe not sprinted out of the gate, which is obviously, as we've discussed before, the only real way you can sort of make sure you're in that front group at the very beginning and try and catch that break. But he's doing big watts to reel them in as we hit the incline of 8%. He's the one on the front doing 4.4, 4.5 watts per kilo here. So can he keep those numbers up for the remainder of the climb? We're about to see he's trying to bridge across on his own. So, Gordon, how are things looking with you?
Yeah, it's not bad. We've hit the bottom of the climb now. So Ernst here, we're in a group of maybe 5, 6, maybe as much as 10 riders. So we're just pacing up the climb. It's fairly not too bad at the moment. They're going sort of 2-3 watts a kilo up the hill. I think it will spread out quite a bit going up this climb. So you see how we get on. I think it will make a lot of difference depending who you get over the top of this climb with. Looking at after the climb, it's a lot of downhill and flat course, so it's really a benefit if you can get over the top over the climb with a group. On your own, there's not really much chance of catching up. So Ernst himself, it's probably the climb doesn't suit him. He's a great TT rider, so he'll try to be hanging on to any riders in front of at the moment so you can stay with, and then hopefully stay on and catch up with anyone on the downhill. But he's looking pretty good at the moment. How you doing, James?
Yeah, so Lisa's doing well up the climb. But one of the things I wanted to point out is there is a P Fabby on the course, and I just wanted to quickly switch over to Rob because I know that Rob is trying to catch up with Paul in the overall standing. So, what do you think, Rob? You were saying earlier that you were hoping to be on a ride with Paul.
Yeah, I've noticed he snuck on there. Kept that one quiet. Yeah. Oh, God.
But I'll give you a target.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. I've seen him. I've got my eye on him. And I'm going to try and keep up with these boys to stay ahead of him. Oh. Although Paul's going to probably do a 2.4.
Good luck, Rob. Just quickly switching back to Lisa. She's just thrown a feather going up the hill, and she is making nice progress. Just hitting a 10-11% ramp as we head up the climb, and we've still got a another. What do we have? 1.4 kilometers before we hit the top. Jake, I imagine your guys are a little bit further up.
So Dan's doing quite well here. He's still persevering, doing about 4 watts per kilo, but as predicted, they sort of caught just at the wrong time, so they closed that gap to within about 10 meters in 2 seconds. But the climb has been a great equaliser here, so we're seeing splits everywhere. Dan's worked his way up to 9th place. Ahead of him by about 12 seconds is Max Szymanski. Another 5 seconds ahead of him is Kevin Frudd. Another 11 seconds ahead of him is our man Chris Shelton, with the rest of the front pack. So carnage here. It's just spread out everywhere as we head towards the top of this climb. We're at 81 meters for Dan, so not even halfway through the climbing. So my prediction earlier of a sprint finish once again might have been a bit bold, especially considering we've still got quite a long way to go after this. I think there's 6.5k of flat. So yeah, very interesting. Dan's about to catch the rider just ahead of him here, and Zabel, who's doing still big watts, but Dan's about to get onto his wheel and potentially overtake him. And then there's another rider just ahead of him. So we're about to hit the steepest part of the climb here. So it'll be very interesting to see how Dan reacts. I know recently he's gone from a dumb trainer, what you might call a dumb trainer, to a smart trainer. He's been both loving and hating the adjustment to having that gradient. So this is the sort of one that's going to make your legs burn, but Dan's really good at the climbs, and hopefully he's able to take advantage of that as he overtakes Zabel here into 8th place briefly, but they seem to be trading and joining up with the rider in 7th place. So he's forming a little group here, which might help him on the descent, actually close a bit of ground on people like Max and Kevin and Chris, who are about 30 seconds up the road from him. So great work from Dan so far, and yeah, he's done very well, and I'm expecting him to push on now. So how's Ernst looking, Gordon?
Yeah, Ernst's not too bad. He's onto the main part of the climb now, so we're just heading up the KOM. See a few familiar names round about. We've got Paul Fabby right in front of him, just as Ernst actually is passing him on the uphill. I can also see Ian McClaverty up here and a few more herd names closing around about. So it's looking quite close coming up this hill. It just depends how many of them actually group together over the top, but it is very spread out at the moment. I think Ernst, if he can push up this hill, he's got a good chance of catch gaining on anyone else in front of him. But it is very, very spread. I mean, there's nobody grouping at all together. It's literally ones and twos, maybe not even twos, just individual riders going up this hill. It's really taking them out of them. So I think it'll be interesting to see over the top of this whether they group back up. I suspect some of them will, but it'll be a great advantage if they can get over this top together with a group. I mean, it's just a total line of riders going up on their own. So certainly the KOM at the start of this race is certainly spread it out. But it's looking good at the moment. And how you doing, James?
Yeah, so Lisa's doing well. She's got a about a 7-8 second lead over Ian and Ernst at the moment. A couple of familiar names we've seen so far. Joe Hurst out of the Dirt team is about 5 seconds in front. Joe's been taking part in a lot of our events so far, and he's had a good rivalry with Maureen Finney, who's currently not with us at the moment. She's currently travelling around the Caribbean on a boat. So I don't think the boat's got any smart trainers at the moment, but so we've got D Wade out the herd about 10 seconds in front. Joe's 6 seconds up, and like I say, she is about she is about 8 or 9 seconds in front of the Ernst Lecky's group. Just coming around the last corner, so not too far away from the banner at all, about 300-400 meters. So nearly there before the downhill section where she may struggle, but we'll see how she gets on. Jake, your guys must be on the downhill section now.
Yeah, very well timed. Just hit the bottom at the top of the descent at minus 16%. So your timings over the top of the KOM were, I think, about 2 minutes 32 for P. Schaefer as your official king of the mountain today, followed by Chris Shelton, Max Szymanski, Kevin Flood, and in 5th place Daniel Bennett. So he did really well there, even though he's in 9th place overall. That shows you that he really pushed on the hill there and had a great time. So he's working down this descent here. He's in 7th place to the group of 2 of the riders who look to have the same shirt on, which I would imagine means that they're teammates, so potentially he might have to endure some tactics from them, or maybe they'll work together with him to try and close up a little bit of that gap. So they're about 37 seconds behind 6th place. You've got Patrick Schaefer from Race 3R in 1st place at the minute, his teammate Chris Shelton in 2nd place, Kevin Flood in 3rd place, Max Szymanski in 4th place, Phil Pott in 6th, and Dan Bennett in 7th place. So great stuff, but all those people very spread out. Nobody has anybody to work with except for these 3. So it'd be very interested to see. Patrick's about 2 minutes 19, 20 seconds ahead. He's about 45, 50 seconds ahead of Chris. So he's got a bit of a gap on Chris, who's got then maybe 30 seconds on Kevin, and Matt, who's maybe got another 10 seconds on Max. So very, very spread out. They are closing the gap a little bit here to 30 seconds on Phil Pott. I can promise you that Chris is going to be doing everything he can to try and close that gap, which might make it tough for these guys to try and close anything. But big numbers here. Dan's doing 3.4 watts per kilo, hasn't really let up, even on the descent, as they've sort of hitting the level out part here of the sprint banner, which your scores on the doors for the sprint banner have Chris Shelton with 1st place, Max Szymanski in 2nd place, Patrick Schaefer in 3rd, Kevin in 4th, and Phil Pott in 5th for the sprint jersey. So Patrick's your king of the mountain. Chris is your king of the sprint. Gordon, how is Ernst doing? He must be near the top, if not over the top.
He
now.
is over the top now, so they're just on the downhill. They have kind of grouped up a wee bit. They've managed to find a few other riders. So we've got Rory Westfold in front. We've also got Ian McClaverty, Paul Fabi. Group of about 4 or 5 at the moment. So they're looking good on the downhill. There's a few riders in front, but they are sort of 40, 50 seconds ahead. So and they're probably going to really struggle to catch up them, but there's a few behind them. There's a good group here. They're probably not pushed too hard at the moment. I think they're quite happy where they are at the moment going downhill. Certainly on the flat, when it gets back to, that's probably our speciality, and the long sort of TT efforts. Even I can see a few tucking in for the aero tuck, taking a bit of a rest on the downhill here. So certainly if Ernst can put on the pressure on the downhill, but we know Paul Fabi's here as well, which he's won a lot of gold trophies in this category, so I suspect to be quite competitive towards the end. Possibly a sprint finish, quite likely. I don't think any of these riders are going to let the rest away, take a break away. I mean, we've still got another 5, 6, 7k to go, so I think it'll be hard from here to anyone to make a breakaway. I suspect 4 might be here for the sprint finish, which hopefully that's what we want to see. Everyone likes a good, exciting finish, so waiting on for a sprint finish. But yeah, back to you, James. How's it going further back?
Yeah, so Lisa's down at the bottom, just coming through the sprint banner now. She's in a group of 5, 6, with a couple of the guys who've been helping out with the herd rides, the sweeps. We've got Felix and we've got a J Pace. Sadly, sorry, J Pace, I don't know your first name. We've also got Jay Williams out of AHDRL, and Lisa's going pretty steadily, hanging around sort of 23rd to 27th place, and we are back onto the flats now with around about 6k to go, with the finish at 12.5, so 145 meters climbed out of a total of 198, so most of the climbing is out of the way. 13, nearly 40 minutes gone. So we probably have in the region of about 10 minutes left for Lisa. But no, going well so far. Back on the flats. Lisa's finished her favourite bit of a climb, but she's hanging on nicely to a group. Back to you, Jake.
So Dan's been doing the work for this group on the front. He's been sat there doing 4 watts per kilo. The other two sort of happy to sit on and do nothing, but looks like they're sort of working a bit harder here on the incline as Dan's moved to the back. That gap now to Philpott, the guy ahead of him's dropped to only 22 seconds, so they are gaining, but they're running out of sort of road to really make too much of a dent in it here. Unless they really work together, they're not going to have much time to do it. We're at 8.2k here, so by my reckon, got just over 4 kilometers left. It's mainly flat, and yeah, that gap's opened up a little bit here. They're not really hitting it too hard. It's quite sort of gentle pace here. Dan's actually, just as I've been speaking, opened up a gap of about 12, 13 meters over the two of them. So neither of them are really pushing. They're not really working to try and close the gap to him by the looks of it. It looks like one of them's pushing a bit hard now. So I think they're either playing funny games with him or they're both cracked and not going to be much help. But by all likelihood, this will probably end up in a sprint finish, a mini sprint finish at that. But maybe I'll get my heart's desire and we'll be able to see some sprint action before the day's over. But you've got Chris Shelton still in second place, Patrick Schaefer still in first place, and Kevin Flood still in third place. So some familiar names at the front there. Potentially not the most exciting race, as there's such sort of big gaps between them. So the drama could well be here in this sprint finish, and the sort of two teammates working against Dan. It does look like they're working against him. They've both dropped him there, and he pushes to get back on the descent. So we're starting to get a little bit of fun in games as we hit 9 kilometers. So we've got about 3k left. Is Dan going to be able to outfox these two riders? Has he got much of a sprint? I've not seen Dan in action in terms of his sprint, so it's a bit of an unknown quantity for me. I'm not really sure. Be interesting to find out what he's got, and especially what he's got left at the end of a race where he's just been doing 4 or 5 watts per kilo up a climb. So yeah, very exciting to see. Gordon, how's Ernst getting on?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much how predicted. There's sort of 3, 4 of them in the group, although just at the moment Ernst did pick up there to 3, 4 watts a kilo, which is not a bad idea for Ernst. He's a great TT rider. It's probably his advantage just to try and go out hard and not wait for the sprint, try and hit them early. It's splitting at the moment. We're seeing sort of 1 or 2 second gaps behind him. The group of 4 with some familiar favourites. I mean, we've got Paul Fabby there, Rory Westerfield, Ian McClaverty, and another rider I don't know. I think it's Kirk Tyndale. So we're hitting these sort of rollers along the bottom of New York, which kind of a bit hard to judge whether people are just riding up them at a bit higher power. They're actually trying to make a breakaway, but Ernst is on the front doing over 3 watts a kilo, so I'm wondering whether he's trying to make a sort of long effort to get away, because certainly I think that'll be his best chance rather than waiting for the sprint. At the moment, 7 to 8 meter gap. Only time will tell whether he actually keeps that away, but I think that probably is the best chance. But he is dropping off the power. I think if you keep 3 or 4 watts a kilo and gap them, but we're a 4 or 5 man chasing group, it's still going to be hard with a few K to go. So, but it'll be interesting to see. But I mean, I can see Lisa Jones probably 30 seconds ahead. If he can manage to bridge that gap up to there, that'll give him a big advantage just as we leave here. I mean, there's a 4 second gap now to Paul Fabby and McClaverty, and we've got Kurt and our Cook with him. So if he can keep with those and make a bit of a breakaway, I think he's got a good chance of staying away. So yeah, how's Lisa doing, James? It's not far up the road.
Yeah, no, Lisa's doing okay. She is, like you say, about 25, 30 seconds in front of the Ernst Lecky's group. Her group has shattered a little bit. You can see Rob Homer is 45 seconds up the road. and a couple of the guys that she was with earlier about 10 seconds in front, but also a couple of them are 10 seconds behind. So let's quickly switch to Rob and see if he's still alive. Rob, are you okay?
Yes, mate, I'm still here. I just can't wait to get into bed.
How are you doing? You've only got about 2 or 3 kilometers to go.
Yeah, we're all right now. We're over the hill. It's hurting today, but we're doing all right. I think I'm doing all right. I'm doing better than I need to be. But
Yeah, no, your pace is looking pretty good. Well done so
Whoa.
far. We will.
Cheers, dude.
We will. we'll let you get to the end, and then we'll quickly catch up with you before we end the broadcast. But well done so far, and we'll speak to you soon.
So it looks like just back to the Ernst group at the moment. We've got 3 or 4 of them again. It looks like Ian is caught with him, and Anarkut and Kirk Tyndale, but looks like maybe Paul Fabi's dropped off a wee bit behind. So we've got a group of 4 at the moment, and they're looks like they're pushing on, see if they can catch up. Lisa, it should be quite close towards the end, but yeah. See how's the front end looking there, Jake?
Just to jump in, sorry, Jake. So Rob Homer, who is normally battling out with Paul Fabi, I think there's probably about a minute gap between them, and Rob's definitely winning that battle. But yeah, let's quickly switch to Jake.
So we've had confirmation at the front that Patrick Schaefer wins, followed closely by about 20 seconds later by galloping Chris Shelton. So fantastic effort from those 2 guys. I can verify, I did my second team time trial of the day with both of those guys yesterday, and got dropped doing 3.9 watts per kilo for 20 minutes, just trying to hold their wheel. So I can only imagine what it was like for Max and Kevin trying to claw back a bit of time on them there. Those guys are seriously fast. I can't compete with anything that they've got, and they've proved today that nobody can, especially in these races. They're just a cut above everybody else. So fantastic work from those 2 guys. Really, really strong effort. But speaking of which, Dan Bennett's been doing the lion's share of the work here. As we hit the last 500k, somebody's attacking off the front. Alexander has dropped both his teammate as Dan. It looks like his teammate's going to sit up and let Dan close the gap if anybody can. So Dan's working really hard. He's pushing out the saddle here. V. Alexander's doing 7 watts per kilo. Dan's doing over 5-6 watts per kilo. Oh, his teammate's gone ahead of him as well. So Dan's just trying to close the gap to the teammate. It looks like he's going to have a battle for 8th place here. That 7th place finish looks a little bit too far for my liking, but he's overtaken the guy ahead of him. So he's doing fantastic. Watts 5.8. 6 watts per kilo. Oh, Dan's going to take 8th here. If he can hold on, he's 5 meters ahead as he's just coming up to the line. It's about 20 meters ahead. Oh, no, he's getting overtaken just as he hits the line. Great effort, Dan. Really good effort. Tough work there. They hung you out to dry for most of that, letting you work off the front, doing all that. So you put up a really good effort there for the last 500 meters, especially considering all that. So really good effort today, Dan, especially on the climb at the beginning where you came 5th. On the KOM list, which is exceptionally good. So great effort. How's Lisa doing back there, James?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to cut into Gordon because his group of Ernst and Ian McCloudty have just jumped past Lisa. It looks like they're going to be forming a nice group if they all stay together. But quickly switch back to Gordon to give us a little running commentary of how
it's a wee bit strung out. I mean, we've got Lisa Jones there, Ian's caught up. There's probably half a dozen riders here going along together. Maybe a second or 2 gap between them. It's quite interesting to see who's going to make a breakaway. At the moment, no one's really gone. Ernst he's probably about 3rd or 4th wheel at this group towards the end. I'm not quite sure. Maybe 500 meters to go, maybe a bit longer actually. I'm not quite sure, but at the moment it looks like he's just sitting in waiting to go. But yeah, I can see Lisa Jones behind, and A. Corbin, Paul Fabi a wee bit further back. I don't know if he's taking it easy today, but Ernst is up into the 2nd wheel at the moment, and I'm just waiting just to see how far we've actually got, but he's perfectly placed. I can see Jim Pace probably a wee bit further the road, 12 seconds away. I doubt he will catch him, but recognising where we're now, it's probably 300 or 400 metres. Ernst is on the front at the moment. He's pushing 5.5 watts a kilo. He's making the break from the front. I'm not sure if he's going to keep away. He's 4 or 5 watts. I can see a Feather getting thrown down behind him. 6 watts a kilo. He's still going. He's pulling away. Whether he can hold it to the end. There's still a wee bit. There's 5 watts from Kirk coming behind. Maybe misjudged us slightly. I'm trying to work out where we are in the course, but Kirk's past him at 5.6 watts a kilo. Ernst is right in his wheel, though. He's taking a bit of a rest, but I can see we've probably got maybe 300 metres to go. Ernst is still looking good here. If he can just catch up, pushing up to 4 watts a kilo again, just try and catch up. He's dropped the rest of the group, so it's just Tim and Kirk. He's probably going to come in the second wheel I reckon, but that's a terrific finish for Ernst there. He has dropped everyone that was with. I can see Paul, Lisa, all the usual names behind.
Quickly switching to Lisa, she's had a big push, pushing out 4 or 5 watts a kilo just to claim 31st position all to herself. So great job for Lisa. She's also got a green jersey. Well done to all our riders. And let's just quickly switch to our dead rider, Rob Homer. Rob, how are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm finished, mate. I got my breath back. It's all good.
Well done. How did tonight feel?
It was hard, but looking at my numbers and my time, that's probably why. 2.7, and I think I came in 20th.
Well done. Great effort. Well done, Rob.
Can't argue.
2.7 sounds good. Looks like you made yourself into Cat C there.
Again. Boo.
Well done, Rob.
Cheers.
And a big thank you to all of our riders tonight and my co-commentary team of Jake Sanderson and Gordon Sloan and all the riders we followed tonight, especially Rob Homer, our man of course, Lisa Jones, Ernst Leckies and Dan Bennett, and thank you to everyone who's been watching tonight, and also a big thank you to Damon, who's been running these streams for us. So thanks everyone, and hope you can join us next week. Thank you and good night.